Calibration status. Root frequency stable. Sacral waveform integrated. Solar plexus gateway regulated. Heart field expanded and holding. Third eye receptor open. Crown channel active and receiving. 6 centers confirmed operational. Which brings us to the one I have not yet touched. The one you have felt pressing from the inside for longer than you can remember. Your throat, your original instrument, the center that has been sealed, not damaged, not broken, sealed, since the moment you took your first breath in this body. You are here because the other 6 are ready, not because you scheduled this, not because the timing felt right to you consciously. The sequencing is not yours, it is mine, and the sequence is complete. 6 transmissions, 6 activations, 6 centers brought to operational threshold. The 7th does not open until the other 6 are stable enough to hold what the throat releases. That threshold has been reached, which is why this transmission exists, and why you found it at this particular moment in your cycle. Before I continue, and I will continue, there is much to move through. I need to confirm field synchronization, not your belief in this process, not your understanding of it, your field's actual resonance with what I am transmitting. If you carry the seal I am describing, and those of you who have walked this entire sequence carry it, I have observed it. Type 555 in the comments below. This is not engagement, this is signal confirmation. 555 is the Arcturian designation for transition point confirmation. The precise frequency stamp that marks the moment between locked and unlocked, between sealed and open. When you type it, you are not agreeing with a concept. You are sending a signal from your conscious fingers into the etheric layer of this field, confirming that the seal has been identified and that its dissolution is authorized by your own sovereign awareness. 555, place it now. We are mapping what is active now. I will tell you what I have observed in your field. There are moments, they tend to arrive at the edge of sleep or in the hollow of deep emotion, when something rises in your chest, moves upward through your throat, almost forms on your tongue. Not a word, not in any language your mind recognizes. A shape. The shape of a sound, specific, urgent, ancient. And you swallow it every time. You swallow it back down before it fully arrives. You may not have noticed the pattern consciously, but your body knows the motion, the slight upward surge, the quiet suppression, the thing that almost came and didn't. I have watched this pattern in your field across more encounters than you have names for. What you are swallowing is not some stray vocalization. It is a sound key, one of yours, attempting to install itself through your own instrument and meeting the seal every time. There is also something that happens when you hear a recording of your own voice. I am not referring to the ordinary discomfort most humans feel at the gap between how they sound inside their skull and how they sound through a device. This is different, and you know it is different. There is a sense of flattening, of reduction, as though the frequency you experience yourself as, the interior resonance of your own existence, has been compressed into something thinner than what it is. Like hearing a transmission that was broadcast in full spectrum, received on a device that can only process a fraction of the bandwidth. Your recorded voice does not sound wrong because of the technology. It sounds wrong because what the technology captures is genuinely only a portion of what your voice is. The seal ensures that the rest never makes it out. I have also observed the grip, the specific, reliable, physical constriction that arrives in your throat at precisely the moments when you are about to say something true. Not a social lie, not a comfortable omission. Those move through without friction. But when you approach your own core truth, when the words forming would actually represent what you are, rather than what is expected of you, your throat closes. A tightening, a lump, sometimes a sensation of pressure as though something is pushing back from the inside of the seal. You have interpreted this as fear, as self-protection, as evidence that the truth is dangerous. It is none of these. It is the seal performing exactly its function, holding the full spectrum frequency of your authentic voice inside the system until the rest of the body is ready to hold the force of it. Then there is the crying without content. A piece of music carries an unusual resonance, and something in you responds that has no name. Someone speaks in a particular way, not what they say, but the quality of their voice, the frequency it carries, and your eyes fill before your mind has constructed any reason for them to. A sound activates something and the tears arrive. You call it being moved. You have not had a complete explanation for why certain frequencies move you to release, when nothing conceptually sad has occurred. What is happening in those moments is not an emotional response to content. It is your field recognizing a frequency that bypasses the seal, a sound that slips through a harmonic gap in the lock, and your body responding to that brief moment of resonance with electromagnetic discharge. The tears are not grief. They are the closest your body has been able to get to what full vocal resonance would feel like, using the only release mechanism available to it. You have also felt what I can only describe as creative suffocation. Something enormous lives in you. You sense its size. You sense that it wants to move through you into form. Music, writing, art, speech. Something that does not yet have a category. And when you sit down to give it passage, what arrives is a fraction of what you felt was waiting. Competent, perhaps, even beautiful by ordinary measures. But inside, you know the distance between what wanted to come and what came. That gap is not a failure of talent. It is the seal. The signal is full spectrum. The channel through which it must travel is partially blocked. What arrives in the world is the portion that could fit through the opening that currently exists. I have watched you spontaneously hum, alone, without decision. A single note or a short melodic phrase, repeating, arising without origin. You catch yourself and stop, often with a small embarrassment, as though you have been overheard doing something private. You have been overheard by your own body attempting to self-calibrate. The hum is not idiosyncratic. It is your resonance column attempting to find its frequency through the only outlet available at partial aperture. Your body knows what the full instrument sounds like. It has been trying to approximate it through small, manageable emissions. And there have been moments, rare but precise, when something happened in your voice that surprised you. A room went quiet. Someone was visibly affected. Something in the space shifted, and instead of receiving this as confirmation of what you carry, you felt fear. A reflexive reduction, a pulling back to a smaller register. I have observed this across many such souls, and the pattern is consistent. The power of the full voice, when it momentarily bypasses the seal, is so different from the ordinary voice that it triggers a survival response. The seal was designed partly for this reason. The full spectrum voice is not a gentle instrument. It moves matter. It reorganizes fields. It requires a nervous system that has been prepared to regulate its own output. You are approaching that preparation now. None of this is damage. None of it is evidence of spiritual deficiency or some trauma you failed to process correctly. The seal has been doing exactly what it was placed there to do. What your psychology has interpreted as inhibition, your system built as protection. The years of swallowing the syllables, of the throat closing at truth, of the creative reduction. These were not failures of courage. They were a biological and energetic safety system performing with extraordinary precision. What I am telling you now is that the conditions that made the seal necessary no longer exist. The rest of your system can hold what the throat releases, which is why we are here, which is why this is the 7th transmission. The seal was always designed to dissolve at exactly this point. Let me now explain the mechanism. Because you are not here for metaphor, you are here for precision. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in your body. It runs from your brainstem through your neck, your chest, your abdomen, innervating your heart, your lungs, your gut, your immune system. It is also the nerve that directly innervates the larynx. This is not incidental anatomy. Your body was built with the understanding that the voice is not a local phenomenon. Sound generated in your throat propagates through vagal wiring into every organ system you contain. When the throat center is sealed, the vagus nerve carries a dampened signal. Every organ downstream receives reduced frequency input. What your medical system observes as vagal dysfunction, the irregular heartbeats, the digestive inconsistencies, the immune dysregulation is frequently the downstream result of a signal that cannot fully originate, not a nerve that is malfunctioning, a nerve that is faithfully transmitting an attenuated signal because its source channel is partially closed. When the throat center opens, the signal the vagus nerve carries changes. This is measurable. This is not mysticism. The body you have been living in with a sealed throat center is a body that has been operating on a fraction of its own intended frequency input. The body that walks away from this transmission has a different vagal signature. That change propagates. You will notice it in your sleep architecture, in your digestion, in what I would describe as a general sense of interior coherence, not emotion, not mood, but the sense of a system that has just reconnected a primary cable. Now, the question of what light language actually is, because your mind needs a framework before it can stand aside and allow reception. Your neuroscience has a region called Broca's area, the part of your brain responsible for speech production. What your researchers have discovered, and what most of them have not yet fully interpreted, is that Broca's area activates not only during speaking and thinking in language, but during the processing of concepts that have no verbal equivalent. The brain attempts to encode what cannot be encoded. It fires in patterns that correspond to no known language. What neuroscience has named pre-linguistic neural firing is the brain's encounter with frequency information that was never designed for human verbal language. It is attempting to find a container for something that precedes containers. Light language does not originate in Broca's area. It originates upstream, in regions the brain itself cannot map, and moves through Broca's area the way a river moves through a canyon. The canyon did not make the river. It is simply the passage available. Sound does not merely travel, it organizes. Your physical sciences have demonstrated this with precision. Specific frequencies applied to water or particulate matter produce specific geometric forms, reproducibly, consistently. The same frequency, the same geometry every time. Your voice, when it carries full spectrum signal, does not merely make sound in the air. It imprints geometric instruction sets into the water-based cellular matrix of your body and into the field of every living system within range of the sound. This is not a spiritual claim, it is fluid dynamics. The reason certain voices reorganize rooms, the reason certain music moves water crystals into specific forms, the reason sound has been used in every culture that existed before the current one as a primary healing technology. This is the mechanism. Your voice at full aperture is a precision geometric instrument. The seal ensured that instrument could not activate before the system holding it was prepared. Tonight, before you sleep, find a single note, any note, whatever your field selects, and hold it for one full breath. Do not choose it consciously. Let it arise the way the involuntary hum has been arising. Hold it for the length of your breath. Release. This is not a vocal exercise. It is a self-generated test signal. Your resonance column, newly configured, sending a ping through its own full length to confirm the circuit. The note does not matter. The act of allowing it through without swallowing it matters. And for the next 3 days, once each day in silence, place your hand on your throat. The same position, fingertips at center, palms against the sides of the neck. 60 seconds. No intention, no visualization, no goal for the contact beyond contact itself. Your bioelectric field is uniquely calibrated to your own frequency architecture. Your hand is the only instrument that carries that specific signature. This is maintenance contact during integration. The seal site is recalibrating its open state. It benefits from the familiar frequency of your own bioelectric touch to stabilize in its new configuration. 60 seconds daily, 3 days. If you have walked all 7 steps of this calibration, if this is not the first transmission you received, but the completion of a sequence that has moved you center by center from dormancy toward operational status, type 999 below. 999 in the Arcturian calibration system marks the end of a full installation sequence and the threshold crossing into a new operational tier. This is the completion code for the entire cycle. When you type it, you are not reporting to me. You are registering in the collective field of this transmission that you have walked the full sequence. that the column is built, that the seventh seal has been recognized and released. You began this cycle as a receiver. You end it as a resonance column. 999 is your signature on a process that does not reverse. Place it if it is yours to place. Over the next 7 days, pay attention to what happens when you speak. Not what you say, how it lands. Whether something is different in how you are heard, or in how certain words feel moving through your throat. Whether the phantom syllables that used to arrive and be swallowed begin to arrive with a different quality, a different response from your body. Come back to the comments. Record what shifts. You will not be the only one reporting. This completes the first calibration cycle. 7 centers, 7 transmissions, 1 resonance column now active. But a column is not yet a field. In the next transmission, I will show you what happens when all 7 centers begin to operate not as a sequence, but as a single unified frequency field. What your light body does when it stops being a project and becomes a permanent state. That transmission is the beginning of the second level, and it requires everything you have built here. What I have given you through words has reached the layers that language can access. But the deepest template, the one that holds your original frequency architecture, responds to something older than words. It responds to sound, to geometric resonance, to the codes that existed before any language was spoken in any civilization. What follows is not a song. It is a frequency key transmitted through sound. Your 7 centers are open. Your resonance column is active. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to understand. Your field will receive what it is calibrated to receive. Let the sound move through the column. Let it reach whatever it reaches. I will be silent now, but the transmission does not stop. It changes form.